Okay, let's see if we're working here. I'm not really sure if this is working or not tonight. Occur. Welcome stream. That works. All right, well, I'm not really sure if I'm broadcasting. Okay, I think we are. All right. Well, anyways, I do apologize tonight for the delay. Tonight, actually, I'm gonna plop a link to our broadcast page on our fan page. Get some more viewers tonight. So anyway, I'm Mark Spess, and has been a delay in our show tonight. One of my clients called up before, and so I had to talk to him, and also I had to get my son to sleep, and he did not want to go to sleep tonight. So that was one of the things that, happens in real life, unfortunately. All right. All right, so I'm going to post this on our fan page so people can find us. So anyway, tonight's show, we had some things lined up. Actually, last week, I think we were talking about looking at some of Sean's ideas for the show, and Sean sent us this Google Doc, which has a lot of links that he found, and so we're going to go through some of this later on. But there's some things that I found which I want to show first, and the first thing I found was this thing called Thomas the Obscure from Eleanor Middlehurst, and this had some good production values to it. And I thought maybe we could start to show off with it tonight. And why don't we just get started and check it out, and then I'll discuss what it's all about afterwards. Okay. Let's see if it works first. All right. All right. So obviously a very short film, but what's so great about it is the fact that, although it's short, it makes a point. It's very direct. Um, there are some interesting effects going on here, particularly how the book sucks this character in, which is, I think, I'm gonna guess it's some sort of Photoshop thing going on there, and and then getting sucked into the book, they use that same technique to sort of blend the clay in with the book itself. And I shouldn't say they, of course. Um, but so Eleanor did a really good job, and there's not a lot of views, only about 30 views. So I'm gonna give it a like. Maybe it'll help out a little bit. But I thought that's a really good film. In fact, why don't we watch it one more time here? And oh, is the welcome message still there? Oh man, you're absolutely right. All right, let's take that off and watch again, guys. So yeah, Sean says, cue the creepy music. Yeah, the music works great. And one thing I'd also like to point out is, the way that Eleanor envisioned this, she had a close-up scene of the face of this character right here, and you'll notice there, they've got like all the eyelashes, all made of clay and put in there nicely, and big eyes. And this is a separate model, and I mean that's something that unless you watch it a couple of times, you don't really catch. And so it's kind of neat that she thought of doing this just to get this particular scene. So maybe her camera, for example, the lens couldn't zoom in. Maybe it wasn't a macro lens, and so she couldn't get this kind of shot with her lens, and so she decided to make it larger. So that's really cool. A lot of thought went into this, and I think also this flicker that she's got here, there's a definite sort of flicker. I think that's probably intentional as well. And if it's not, it actually helps with this film because it's supposed to be kind of creepy, and there's a sort of film-based flicker that just lends itself to kind of that creepy and sort of feel to it. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it appears for me. So very cool, and let me one subscription. I'm gonna subscribe in case Eleanor makes some more of these. But Eleanor Middlehurst. Now that is the channel name, and we're gonna look at. Let's see. I've not looked at these other videos yet, but it does appear that there's just a whole bunch of. Let's see. So making friends is another video. We're gonna watch this. I don't know what this is about, but we're gonna check it out. Now Sean says the animation on the face is chilling. With that kind of music it is, isn't it? Alright, so let's see what making friends is about, guys.
Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Ta-da!
Hey.
Hmm? Ooh. Yay! What? But, huh? Yay! Yay! Uh-oh. Yay!
All right, so pretty neat little film. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Three Little Pigs or something, where they build a different kind of house, straw, wood, and brick, and then of course, the final one is the best. But a little bit of a variation on that. That's pretty cool. And so, evidently, this is her university project. It says her second year university project for motion illustration. So, not sure what school or college she's going to, or university, of course. What am I saying? Um, no information about her, so I'm not really sure. But hopefully she's got some more on the way. So, and I guess this was probably the final one. Thomas was probably the last one. Let's see if there's anything else. Discussions. Nope, I guess not. But anyway, she's only got 2 subscribers. So if you want to subscribe to Eleanor, show her some, give her a little bit of a boost to her channel. It might be nice. So yeah, good stuff. I really like that one. All right. So what else, guys? Let's see. This thing here was kind of interesting. Someone, I have a lot of Buddhist friends, and someone sent me this link, and this is on tricycle.com. And it says here the title is, this is from April 3rd, 2015. A 1,500-year-old monastery teaches Buddhism to Chinese millennials with stop animation shorts. And so it says here that it was founded in 2011, the Longquan Comic and Animation Group. Not sure if I'm saying that properly, but shoots its Buddhist-themed stop-motion animation shorts in a mountain cave in Beijing's Fengwoling Nature Park, I think. So evidently they have electricity in that cave. And if it's like any of the caves I've ever been in, hopefully it's not a very wet cave, because that would not be cool with electricity. But so Longquan Monastery's abbot venerated Master Zhua Xing is also vice chairman and secretary general of the Buddhist Association of China. They first started using social media several years prior. Now with a crew composed solely of monks and volunteers, the 1,500-year-old monastery produces enormously popular short films to make Buddhist precepts and teachings understandable and relevant to daily life, which it shares on Weibo, China's equivalent to Twitter. Now, if you guys haven't heard of Weibo or Weibo, I'm not really sure how you say it, but there's a story about how this American guy got his cell phone stolen. Have you guys seen that? He became like a celebrity in China because of Weibo. So it's a really big social media page in China, and I'm not sure if it's the same thing where you can only post like, how many characters, like 68 characters on Twitter or something silly like that. I don't really know why Twitter makes it like that, but it's really a famous sort of go-to place in China for anybody who's into social media. So we're gonna watch this, and it's only about 3 minutes long, so let's check it out.
师傅，这么久了，一个人都没有，为什么呢？
Able to see that. Let me do something first, guys, so you can read what's being said. Let me take off the. Oop, there we go. All right, here we go.
师傅，出家可以开智慧，了脱生死，普度众生，为什么却没有人来呢？
出家要有出世的解脱心，还要有入世度人心的大丈夫，才能做得。现在的人呐，
现在的人怎么了？
财色名食睡，舍不得，放不下，苦啊！
师傅，这次你错了。嘿嘿，
我报名，我有学历。
我也报名，我有双学历。
哎呦喂，这是我的简历，
别挤我！
请多关照。
请问你们这里的要求是什么？
第一，要素食；第二，要独身；要持戒、诵经、坐禅，一日不做，一日不食，不拿金钱。师傅，还是您说的对。
我的简历。
哎，师傅，有出世解脱心，又有入世度人心的大丈夫，确实找不到。
不是找不到，是你不知道在哪里找。
师傅，那应该在哪里找呢？
要在屏幕外面找，就是你看视频的，真是大丈夫就放马过来。师傅，让您久等了。
All right, so longquans.org. I should probably open that. So yeah, I don't know if you guys saw all the text there, the subtitles, but it's sort of like in Buddhism, you believe that your attachments keep you to the world. So the point of what it is he's saying, you know, nobody out there. There's a lot of people out there who can be Buddhists because they aren't attached to all those things, and the master says, well, where are they? And nobody could pass the test of being attached to those things. And so let's see, longquans.org. Longquans. See if I'm spelling that right here. Oops. Oh. Yeah, so what do you guys think of that? Pretty, you know, simple animation. And why won't it load? Long wands org. Maybe it's maybe it's an A. Trying to spell this in my browser. I'm thinking that's a longquanc.org. Bear with me, guys. Okay, I think it's loading up, but I don't know. Yeah, evidently this is all in Mandarin Chinese, so I don't really know if this is the correct site, but I definitely put in the correct URL here. Oh, I can click this English. Let's click on English. I'll close this. All right, so the English site loads, and I'm not sure where we can find these videos. Maybe here. All right, so this is the guy, Venerable Master Hua Chang, maybe, I guess. I know that they mentioned him in the article. So, and I don't see any more videos. Darn. I thought I could help you guys out. But I can't. I need to brush up on my Buddhism maybe first. I must find a way. Okay. Well, anyways, but it's pretty neat, and they've got a second one here we can watch, which is about 2 minutes long on this article. So why don't we just do that?
空气中弥漫着苦难的味道。
消灭他们！进攻！地里来的魔鬼才是战士。 你说什么？
不，改变才是力量。
每一个个体的死亡都是悲剧和遗憾。 我们不应该美化它。妈妈，
所有的痛苦都来自我们的内心。我不是害怕死亡。
这是。
So,
你也有一个敌人。
there's another website URL on this video here at the top, so I'm going to check that out next here. So let me see if I can load up the URL here and bring up. Maybe the videos are on here. It's like foxue.qq.com. And you guys notice I don't load these up on the main screen because sometimes you never know, you might type in a URL and get some kind of spammy web page or something. Okay. There does seem to be some kind of some art on here, but let's see. I'm not sure if there's a English version here. Map. Huh. Yeah, they don't really make it convenient for English viewers, unfortunately. Let's see down here. Oh, see some statues, some temples, but no animation that I can see. Sorry to say. All right. Well, anyway, let's go to their let's go on to their Vimeo page. Which does not want to. Oh, that's the HD. All right, maybe if I do this. No. Alright, maybe this one has it. Okay, maybe I gotta go to the end first. Alright, so it's not letting me view their Vimeo page, unfortunately. Darn. That's not good. Wow. Anyways, so anyway, let's just kind of discuss what we saw here. Now, what do you guys think of everything's kind of simple, you know, it seems to be pretty simple. The characters seem to be made from some sort of polymer clay, I'm gonna say. It looks like this is almost like a sculpey head. And yeah, the production values are not super high, but there's some editing and some effects here. The characters seem to be really small. And the stories are probably, you know, obviously from Buddhism, so there's a ton of stories out there. And oh no, I can't click anything. Darn. Let's try this. Ah, it's not working, guys. But the production values are not the greatest, but I mean, if you're making literally films in a cave, I can imagine that, you know, the production values are not going to be super great. But it's really nice that they actually made an effort. And, you know, in China, there's not a huge amount of stop motion in terms of really high production values anyway. So there's definitely, you know, a learning curve that these guys definitely have to conquer before they can even make a film. And let me open this link here. Let's see, video. Yeah. And I'm not really sure how frequently they're going to make these. It seems to be a brand new thing, being that the story is only from this month. But anyway, if you guys are interested to read this article for yourself, you could probably type in a 1,000-year-old monastery teaches Buddhism to Chinese millennials in Google and probably find this really easily. Right. So anyways, I was not successful in finding where to see more, though. Sad to say. Okay. So anyway, guys, moving on. Somebody posted this as a link somewhere on Facebook, and this is a film that I found. It's called Chase Me. It's a 3D printed film, and it has not been released in full anywhere that I could find. But there is a trailer for this. And what is so unique about this is actually completely 3D printed. Everything was created within a computer. Everything was modeled probably in something like ZBrush. There's a behind the scenes video, I believe, on here, which we're going to watch after we watch the trailer. I think it was probably ZBrush. But, you know, it's kind of like taking something like Paranorman and making, you know, instead of just replacement faces, making everything 3D printed. And so this is not the first time we've seen 3D printed puppets which are completely 3D rendered, where every move is a different pose. There was if you guys recall, a brown bear that somebody had animated, I think like walking up a set of stairs in a walk cycle, you know, where this bear can just keep going and going and going and going. And it was completely 3D printed, and I think that was one of the, you know, the first times I had seen someone actually make something like that, where it wasn't just a replacement face or props or anything like that. But this takes it a step further by making the environment, the puppets, everything is 3D printed. And even, I believe, the effects that were used in some of the shadows were created with pieces 3D printed as well. So it's actually kind of interesting. And I know this is somewhat of a controversial aspect of stop motion right now. These people are just pushing the boundaries, and I guess his name is Gilles Deschaudes, and so they're really pushing 3D printing to see what is capable with the technology, and this is definitely, it's like I said, it's very interesting. So let's watch here, and keep in mind this is just the trailer, not the full film. So it's really short, but what you could see in here, and this was done with the Forum Labs 3D printer, which is to use a basically a fine laser projector arrangement inside of a container that is filled with resin that is UV sensitive and hardens wherever the light touches. And so the 3D printer would spit these things out rather slowly. It's a very slow, laborious process. And there's also, on a puppet such as this, there's usually little like sprues that come off of the dress here, or the elbows and so forth. And the artists, or if you want to call them artists, maybe the sanding team might be a better term, would get in here and trim everything, most likely, and sand all the parts. And this is an incredibly small puppet, and there's different sizes of puppets that they made, and the resolution of the printer is very fine, but even still, you can still see the sort of lines where the printer layered the resin. So it's not a perfect technology in terms of you render a 3D character in a computer and it spits it out utterly smooth or anything, but it is actually, if you didn't know that and you saw this for the first time, you would say, oh, it's actually pretty smooth, and it is, but that is the trailer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to watch behind the scenes. It says here that the project first began as a CG animated storyboard, which was then 3D printed frame by frame. Each second of the film is made up of 15 frames. The elements in each scene was printed at the 100 micron resolution with minimal finishing beyond the removal of support material. And for the wide camera shots, the filmmaker printed out a girl measuring 3 centimeters tall and switched to a 7 centimeter model for close-ups. The set was printed in multiple parts that were combined to make larger objects. So the way that they print these, you can't print out stuff really super large, unfortunately, in most printers. So what they've done is made a model and chopped it up and made it in dimensions which would actually be printable. So that is one of the drawbacks to consumer 3D printers. Mike made some comments about the last Buddhist videos that we watch, Buddhist stop motion, and he said he loves the visual style of the little monk and hopes they make them a bit more accessible. I'd look forward to more. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't really make those easy to find, do they? So anyways, so this here, Chase Me, the 3D printed film, says here that they printed 22 individual prints on the Form 1. Smaller animated parts of the set, such as the growing tree and the waterfall, were modeled and printed for each specific still to illustrate movement. So yeah, plenty of replacements for that. Chase Me is a story about embracing your fears and turning them instead into something beautiful, says Gilles Alexandre. So here's the making of, and this is kind of fun. So let's check it out here. So if you guys do follow 3D printing technology, the amazing thing is that they've actually got a technology now that utilizes oxygen and a similar sort of like a projection technology that is about 10 times faster than the printer that they used to make this film. And there are no more lines at all, layered lines that show up on prints, which it's really, really exciting because, you know, pretty soon the technology is already at the point where, you know, it's getting cheap, or cheaper, and you know, almost ready for consumers to, you know, embrace, that are artists like myself and you out there. But let me see what else they have here. So here's the filmmaker, and it's Gilles Alexandre Deschaudes, and it says here he had been working in the VFX industry as a digital artist and animator for the past 7 years. Throughout his career, Gilles Alexander has experimented with various techniques using a hybrid of 2D mediums such as painting and drawing combined with 3D animation, and he experimented with new styles, or his experimentation with new styles has led him to discover the 3D printing with the Form 1 SLA 3D printer. And so this is his latest project, of course, on his site. And here is an image of one of the printouts. As you can see, there are these layer lines which are visible, and that's going to be completely gone pretty soon with the emerging technologies. Now, Mike is saying these 3D print animations are definitely unique and beautiful and interesting, but I'm not sure how I feel about them yet. Definitely a heap of mixed feelings. Yeah, I mean, myself personally, would I go this route? No, I wouldn't personally, but I think if George Powell were still alive today and he made like the Puppetoon films, I could probably bring up a Puppetoon video for you guys to check out. And George, oh, here we go. You know, George Powell was sort of this, you know, there's a whole entire 38-minute documentary on him, but let's try to watch something short. So this is from 1938, amazingly. So this one's from 1942. Yeah, let's just try this one. This is from 1946. You guys don't know who George Powell is. He was pretty prolific back in the 30s and 40s.
It's pretty as a picture.
That boy's either got a 4-year trembles or he's making with your yo-yo.
Yo-yo? I was simply mad about yo-yos.
All right.
Hey, what you got there, boy? Give it to me.
That kind of gives you a taste of the style of George Powell. And all of this stuff here was carved out of wood, and every single motion of this puppet, well, not that in particular. They had a swivel on his body there, but like this character, this crow, and this guy speaking here, all of those different expressions are actually different pieces of carved wood. So if all the phonemes of the mouth and the squash and stretch of the head, all that stuff was, you know, it's individual pieces. The teardrops here, and it was a heck of a lot of work to do that. Heck of a lot of work. And so, you know, you would think about George Powell, you know, how much time would it have saved in his production had that been done with 3D printing. I mean, they could have made a ton more films. You know, but back then they didn't have, you know, ZBrush, they didn't have Maya and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, a lot of this was actually carved out of wood, believe it or not. And they had a team of wood carvers and painters, and they would draw all this stuff on paper, you know, draw all the main poses, and that's what you got, right? They also used, let's see, darn, his name is escaping me. There was a Chinese immigrant that Webster Colcord actually met him. What was his name? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, there was a guy who came over and introduced molds and wax as one of the ways of doing these kinds of things. Now, this doesn't really illustrate it so well. We can fast forward here. Yeah, so this guy, I think by this time they were using foam latex in some puppets. But it all started out as wood. So yeah, can you imagine, you know, like this guy here? You know, each entire head is a replacement, and all the mouth shapes, the ears. You can see, like, as the head is being replaced, all the ears kind of flicker and so forth. Kind of gives away the technique. So yeah, so that's George Pal, and you guys can watch some more. There's lots and lots of videos on here. This one's from 1941 called Hula Bula. Yeah, so the style is it's obviously simplistic. Like, they couldn't do anything past simple round shapes for the heads in most cases, because if they did, carving would be a real nightmare. So, so they tended to pretty much keep it simple. And George Pal, I think, was trying to compete with Walt Disney at the time, because Walt Disney had so many popular, you know, cartoons out there. What was I gonna say? Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was really big around this time. I think that came out in like 1932, right? So Walt Disney sort of cornered the animation market, and George Pal wanted to compete. And yeah, it was just very laborious. Like, look at this guy's walk cycle. Let's see if I can get this to... I mean, it's kind of funny. And I know Ray Harryhausen also worked with George Pal as well. So George Pal opened a lot of doors up for people that were animators at that time. That you know, of course, they made a huge impression in the film industry. So pretty amazing. And this is actually fairly complicated too. Like the eyes are set, right? They have sort of a crease around the eyes, and got some teeth and eyebrows, and oop. And I do believe this actually uses some sort of rubber arms. I'm not sure if they used foam latex or what they were using there. But I imagine Henry Selick used this kind of technique as his inspiration when he first started using replacement faces on James and the Giant Peach. You can see, like, this woman's face almost seems to be like some sort of a mask over a frame of some kind, so that the hair doesn't have to be re-sculpted or recarved. Yeah, so they did use some different techniques. And self-assembling house. So Mike is saying the Puppetoons were amazing given that they were all made by hand. Yeah, so that's sort of, it does make it more. And I did have, I don't want to call it an argument, but I sort of mentioned this on Facebook to some of my friends. Somebody was selling some artwork, like a blue canvas painting with a white line down the center for something like $44 million, you know. And my argument was that the worth of art, whether it be stop motion or whatever it is, anything, the value is kind of like the rarity of the number of pieces that are made, right? So something that's kind of scarce that not anybody can get, and in terms of like, you know, physical art like paintings, but even stop motion, I guess, and the rarity of the talent that it takes to create something. So if somebody spends all their life, you know, carving, like I've seen people that carve pencil lead, right? And you know, they can actually carve like an actual figure out of the graphite, and it's microscopic and it's amazing. Like you go, how the heck did somebody carve something intricate on a piece of pencil lead? You know, under a microscope you can see every little detail, like eyeballs and all kinds of stuff, right? And that makes it kind of valuable in a way. And 3D printing, I do believe, it takes away from that, because a 3D printer itself has no talent, right? Like you program it and it does its job, and it's it's mechanical. And I think there was some philosophical saying like, you know, humanity without spirit is, you know, it's like there's no heart in that, and I guess it's kind of, in a sense, there's no feeling, no emotion that's put into a 3D print, you know, by human hands, and it does somehow, it does affect the way people see things or view them, like the humanity of knowing somebody else's hands were creating these puppets for George Powell. It's like, oh, you know, somebody really worked really hard on that. But when it comes to 3D printing, you don't sort of get that. However, it does, you know, the effect you're trying to achieve is created, right? So your intention sort of skips a step, you know, in terms of human touch. So yeah, it's very debatable. I think that the printing technology is getting to where it's a very helpful tool, though. Even if you don't want to 3D print your puppets, you can always 3D print your armatures one day, props and things like that. If you're a poor animator and don't have a crew to sort of make a lot of things, maybe that's a good way to go. So opens up some doors. Now, Jack Nash says, I've seen that. It was a hammer on the end of a pencil. Yeah, that's right. Carved from graphite. Apparently it took months, he says. Yeah. So there's some amazing art out there. And then one day I'm sure we can 3D print. In fact, I know we can 3D print something that small. I think the smallest sculpture in the world is, it's like a small bowl or something like that. Let me look it up really quick. You know, there's, yeah, here we go. Let's see here if I can load this page. I know you want to load. Okay, it doesn't want to load. Let me go back. Alright, so yeah, this is something that man can create amazingly. The world's smallest sculptures and pictures. Now, human hands cannot create this. It is impossible, right? It says here, John T. Hurwitz, co-founder of Wanga.com, has created nanosculptures of human forms that are invisible to the naked eye and can only be viewed on the screen of a powerful scanning electron microscope. So this is on a human hair, it says. And this is within the eye of a needle. Kind of astounding. It looks like a speck of dust or something, right? And here we have a bazillion pictures being taken of a model. And these presumably are, let's see here. It says, making the sculpture begins with a scan of the model with over 200 cameras shooting instantaneously. Then a 3D printing technique at the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany is used. So it is 3D printed, believe it or not. Multiphoton lithography is used for the finer details. And here is a sculpture on the head of an ant. Right. So obviously, you know, this is a technology which, you know, none of us will ever use. Not unless we're making a stop motion film on the nanoscale. You know what I mean? It's like, are we ever going to do that one day? I mean, somebody might do that. Maybe one of these guys that works here will eventually undertake that, because you could, in theory, have this model change position, like in pixelation, right? And, you know, use those photos to change the position, and then, yeah, you could literally do a nano stop motion film. But again, it's only for the novelty purposes. It's sort of like going to the moon. It's like you do it just because you can. You know, you have the technology. Let's go there. Maybe it will make a difference to somebody. But yeah, if we make a stop motion film, it's kind of just because you can. But I don't think a feature film would ever be made. No one would really take that serious. You know, anything that's like over a few seconds long would be kind of like, okay, well, that's interesting, but what good is it to do that? You know, you can't really tell a story efficiently with this kind of technology. So anyway, I'm just kind of blabbing on about it here, but yeah. So you know, it's controversial in a sense. It's sort of like the camera comes along and overtakes painting portraits as the main mode of capturing somebody, right? So Mike says, laugh out loud. World's first stop motion filmed entirely on a piece of hair. That would be kind of crazy. But so here are some photographs of this, and they did paint some of the 3D printed parts. I'm not really sure why they would need to, you know, print these things. Maybe there's a reason, because it seems almost like it would be easier to take a piece of styrofoam and some, you know, sandpaper, and I don't know. It seems like almost harder to 3D print a set piece like this, doesn't it? Like a rock. You can go out in your backyard, find a rock that looks just like that, pick it up, paint it how you like it, and probably would be perfect, right? So I don't really know if that's so efficient. And here's some 3D printed water, which looks kind of cool. So this is something I think that 3D printing would actually work great for, is like water elements like this. I mean, the only other way I can think of to do that would be some sort of like, it looks like fruit roll-ups in a sense. You know, those like gelatin-based, you know, fruit treats for kids. Kind of. I mean, the texture of it and the opacity kind of looks like that as a print. So, I mean, there are ways to do this, but you know. And Jack Nash says, a guy could kill himself by jumping off a grain of sand. That's true. Very, very true. here's that tree, and I think they used a different kind of resin. It's like almost translucent slash clear kind of resin here. And I don't know, this here seems to be, it's interesting, they even have flat pieces here. These are all flat. And it appears that they printed all of these. They sort of printed it, and then glued it together. And to me, it just seems like really a hard way to do it, right? Because this is just almost like you could take a piece of cardboard and wet it and shape it and let it dry in that shape. And it would look probably just as good, right? For this piece. But yeah, you know, just a different way to do things, I guess. And this is the Form Labs printer, which is really, it's a great printer. It's one of the top printers out there. Here's this girl walking along a log. And it does seem like what they've done, they've got these little sort of roots and things. I don't imagine, and like this foliage here, I'm pretty sure that was not printed. I think that's too fine of a detail. This almost looks like hot glue or something was applied and then stretched out here as, you know, vines and things. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. See if there's anything else. I don't think there is. Oh, okay. So there is a Facebook page for this. Let's click on that. So Chase Me Movie is all it's called. So I guess if you search for this on, let's see here. I'm gonna like it. It only has about 93 likes so far, but they've got their trailer, they've got their photos, and here is, I believe these are actually prints here. You can see the replacement parts. And what they've done, actually I didn't realize this before, is they've got these little protrusions from the ankles, which I guess plug into where she walks. It's kind of nice. Yeah. So a few different pictures on their Facebook page, which you guys can check out, like it, and explore. All right. So anyway, guys, that does conclude our show for tonight, and I apologize for starting a little bit late. Thanks for all for coming, and hopefully you guys will check out our show next week, same time, same place, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central. Also, make sure to, if you're working on our monthly challenge, to get started, because we have only 4 more weeks left. All right, see you guys all next week.